Hey, what's up everybody? I want to apologize for being a day late with this video. I couldn't make one yesterday, so that would be a motorcycle. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm making it today instead. This week's topic is, does it bother you to be misgendered as the gender you were assigned at birth? Or as the other binary gender, and how do you deal with being misgendered? When I first read this question, my initial reaction was to say, oh, it doesn't really bother me because people don't really know any better. But that's kind of dishonest, because the fact of the matter is, it does bother me. And I don't blame society, because I obviously look female, and when people misgender me as female, they really don't know any better, and they're often trying to be polite, because typically sort of misgendering that happens is out of manners, out of saying ma'am or Ms. or something. It's like, I don't sort of get mad at people or like frustrated with individuals, but the fact of the matter is, even though I sort of like wish that it wasn't this way, I do feel a little tinge of, if I'm having sort of a good day and everything, and then I feel that, bit of being like misgendered, it can bring me down, and it does bring me down. And I wish that it wasn't like that, but it is, and, yeah, so unfortunately, that's the way it is. Have I ever been misgendered as male? It's happened a couple of times, more like in the winter, when I'm sort of, if I have like, men's pants on and then like a hoodie and like my men's jacket, and I have like the hood up and like the scarf around my face and stuff, then I have been misgendered a couple of times. And that's it. I like that, actually. I think that if I was misgendered as male like all the time, I wonder how I would feel about that, because I don't know, but the fact that I'm constantly misgendered as female and then to be sort of misgendered as male made me, like it felt kind of good. It was kind of neat, So in the summer, though, being misgendered as male does not happen at all. Okay, so how do I deal with being misgendered in general? I have kind of I don't speak up as much as part of me would like to speak up more. When it comes to people that I'm close to and people that are in my life and more sort of social situations, I will speak up. But when it's just like everyday sort of like people on the street, like guy yesterday, I had a thing I had to pay for customs on a package, so he came to my door and he, referred to me as ma'am, and I will get other people, just like for various things where they're trying to be polite, like it's a lot of it is like, with business interactions or with like service interactions and that kind of thing, and people will say ma'am. And I have a really hard time saying something about that, because although I sort of would like to spread awareness and all of that stuff, I feel like unless you have the time to really have a conversation with somebody about gender and really, teach them about gender, because clearly they don't really know about gender, I have a hard time saying something, because it'll just come out as like this really like snarky comment, and I don't want to put like a damper on their day and have them be like, oh, that person was rude to me, and have them not know why. Because I feel like that's rude with no benefit, you know? So I don't like to be rude either. So if I'm in a situation where it's appropriate to have like a real conversation with somebody, then I'll try to do that. But, and sometimes I'll sort of laugh at somebody. I'll be like, did you just call me ma'am? And kind of like laugh a little bit. Like, if it's a situation where it's not going to feel rude. But often with those types of service situations, I just let it go, you know. With people that I'm close to, if they are misgendering me over and over and over again, even like after they know, like after I've like explained to them about my gender and all of that, it can get more frustrating. Like, it's hard to just sort of let that go because those are people that are close, you know. And so I try to have conversations, and I try not to be like too bitchy about it, and I try to just have like a genuine conversation about like how I feel, and just to let them know, and you know, hopefully they'll change what they're saying or how they're talking about me. But if they don't, then that kind of sucks. And you know, if it's a friend or something, then the fact of the matter is probably not going to want to be around that friend as much. But if it's a family member, then you know, that's something I think just kind of have to put up with at family holidays, you know. Yeah, I had an interesting talk with my stepdad the other day because he was saying my cousin's cousin is having a baby, like his wife is pregnant, and she was going to the baby shower, and he was asking if they knew the gender of the baby because she had bought like this present that was like, you know, all like sailor blue and all that kind of stuff, right? So he said, do they know the gender of the baby? Do they think it's a boy? And I corrected him and said, well, you know, it's the sex of the baby. They don't know the gender of the baby. They might know the sex of the baby. And we ended up having a big conversation about, not about, a little bit about gender specifically, but it was mostly about the language, because in his generation, to say the sex of the baby or to say somebody's sex was a little bit crude. And he remembers having been corrected numerous times by people who were, you know, really into language and various, like, you know, English studies or whatever. And he was corrected for saying somebody's sex. And so he thought that gender was the correct term. And we ended up having like a really long conversation about just like language and that kind of thing. And it's so interesting how language changes. And I think that a lot of the time, people, especially like people of different generations, you know, they don't mean to be offensive. Like, they'll say things that are, you know, what we would consider in this day and age, like, incorrect or, you know, ignorant and that kind of stuff. But in their day, like, in, like, a different time, and even, like, in different places and different cultures and stuff, like, it's really, you know, people are constantly being corrected on their language, and even when they don't mean to be, you know, offensive or incorrect or whatever, like, I think it's really hard to judge people, or to judge people's intentions based on what they say a lot of the time. And so I kind of feel like we have to give people a break and educate them if they are receptive to, you know, that kind of a conversation. But, you know, don't be rude if you can't have a conversation with somebody, because I don't think that, you know, I think the majority of people aren't trying to be offensive. And if they are, then they're assholes, and I don't know, give them the finger or something. So yeah, I will talk to you guys next week. See ya. Bye. Hey, I just wanted to add a little something on to the end of this video. I just wanted to remind people, if you're able to donate blood, because it really does save lives, and people, yeah, the people who receive blood are so incredibly grateful for every single donation.